Racing to the 2021 Breeders' Cup, and this time let's get an update on the Breeders' Cup contenders and also take a deep dive into Essential Quality, his speed figures. Remember, 90 days, 90 videos leading you up to the Breeders' Cup. Hit subscribe, ring that bell for notifications. We already took a look at Nick's Go's speed figure. Today we're going to take a look at Essential Quality, but first, the latest news. Yesterday, breaking news, Mandalone, who was being considered for either the Pennsylvania Derby or the Travers Stakes, was going to maybe try to paint that canoe as his prep race for the Breeders' Cup Classic. He is now out for 6 weeks, going to miss all of the fall prep races. Basically, he's going to start getting ready for a 4-year-old campaign that will probably go to either Dubai, either the World Cup or the big race over in Saudi Arabia. So Mandalone no longer a contender for the Breeders' Cup Classic. Also a 2-year-old being announced off the trail for the possibility of going to a couple of races. Big City Lights passed on the Best Pal Stakes. There was really no reason given, but now we find out he had ankle surgery, chip surgery, and he is going to miss the Del Mar Futurity. Of course, he had a couple of big wins out west, and he was going to possibly be pointed for a Future Stars Friday race. So remember last week, not a lot of word given. Kind of the Charlie Whittingham school of thought here. Treat racing fans like owners, keep them in the dark and piled in you know what. So Big City Lights now also out for the year. Essential Quality. He is pointing for the Travers Stakes. What is his best race on the season? Now, you take a look at his last 4 races, and his speed figures have gone from a 97 in the Bluegrass Stakes to a 100 in the Kentucky Derby, a 109 in the Belmont Stakes, and a 98 in the Jim Dandy Stakes. What was his best race? This is what handicappers have to analyze and take a look at as you project him either into the Travers, maybe the favorite in that race, or going into the Breeders' Cup Classic, taking on a horse like Nick's Go, who's got a 111 and a 113 Beyer Speed figure. And the tail of the trips is really the tail of the races for the quality of the speed figure of Essential Quality. In the Bluegrass Stakes, it was a small field. The track was a little bit front running, and he had to contend with the lone speed in the race and highly motivated. So that speed figure with the slow half-mile and 3/4 fraction, he was never going to be able to make up that much ground and get a very high speed figure. So that was a strong speed figure for that race. Plus, you got to remember, horses improve throughout their 3-year-old campaign, especially the better horses. So a 97 at that time of the year as a newly turned 3-year-old in April, early April actually that was. So that's a good speed figure for Essential Quality. Then you go to the Kentucky Derby, a completely different trip. He had a wide post position, a bigger field, a 20-horse field, and he ended up traveling 68 more feet than the winner in Medina Spirit. Now, a lot of people like to equate 10 feet as a length, especially going 1.25 miles. So that's 6 to 7 lengths better he may have traveled, quote unquote, than the winner, Medina Spirit, in that race. But it was a solid effort, and in that losing effort, he picked up a new high speed figure in the Kentucky Derby. Then he cuts back, takes some time off, so you get some progression. He's getting older, he's developing, he's got another race under his belt. As a general rule, horses in their first 7 or 8 races will continue to improve in their speed figures, especially through their 3-year-old season. So now he goes into the Belmont, he gets some time off, and he gets a good trip, fast surface, gets a faster pace, and ends up engaging from the half-mile pole because he's got to go against the front runner in that race, Hot Rod Charlie. He ends up picking up a huge speed figure, a 109, and that sets him up. A big race also for Hot Rod Charlie, a 108 in that loss. And then you go into the Jim Dandy, and quote unquote he regresses from a 98 Beyer standpoint. But again, he was off a little bit of a layoff, slower fraction, small field, only a 5-horse field, and he had to engage when Mass Parade made that move against Dr. Jack and against Weyburn. Really what he was trying to do was win the race over those two and not pick up a big speed figure. So that is how different speed figures can evolve. Now, interestingly enough, Timeform US, which factors in ground loss and pace of the race, they gave him a 121 speed figure and not really regressing much from that Belmont Stakes, whereas Beyer, they don't account for ground loss, they don't account for the wide trip, and they have him regressing a little bit. Personally, I don't think he regressed. He ran 38 more feet than the runner-up, Keep Me in Mind, so that's why his margin of victory wasn't that big, and he also went wide on the turn. So again, when you look at speed figures, you got to factor in the trip, the amount of horses in the race, where they are at in their form cycle, and how many career races they have, and how old they are at that point of their career. So lots to look at for Essential Quality as he gets ready for the Travers Stakes. What do you think of the speed figure for the Jim Dandy for Essential Quality? Where do you think he kind of sits? Where do you project him going into the Travers? Leave a comment below. Hit subscribe. Remember, 90 videos, 90 days leading you up to the Breeders' Cup. We've got a video already on Knicks Go. You can watch that at the link below following the video. And also going to be starting to take a look at the Arlington races this weekend as we get you ready for some more Win and You're In for the Breeders' Cup.